Well, I mean, it was daunting at first because she's such an incredible character. Like, she's not shy and retiring. She's like, she's there. And she's, the most wonderfully in the moment person, which is also what acting is, like you just have to be in the moment of things. So it forces you to do that, playing her. Like, it really does. I just thought they were such extraordinary characters, and watching, like, deep diving on all of their videos online and then reading the biographies and stuff, I was like, wow, what a ride. Who wouldn't want to be involved in that story, telling that story? I think what I tend to do as an actor, because I have played a lot of real people, I don't know why that happens to me, but I have, and I do love it. I think what I do is I find the characteristics of the person that chime with me, that align with me. So I find them first. And I think also you do all this work, you do the work on the character and the accent and then you let it go. You just let it go, because also you have to be available to let the audiences into emotional lives and to and all the rest of it. And I think sometimes if it's an impersonation, you can kind of lock people out. Yeah. So it is a balance, and it's not easy, but it's also, I love a challenge, and I love the challenge of that. And as I say, the way in really is to just go, okay, because she's very different from me, but what are the things that I can go, yeah, actually we're similar in that and similar in that. Yeah.
It's a complicated thing playing Jim Bakker, because he did some bad things, and he's still around. Yeah. And he's, at this particular moment, I don't know if he's going to be watching Broadway World, but he's hawking some stuff online, which is kind of against some of my personal beliefs, and maybe still taking advantage of people who are in need. And so kind of trying to tap into the psyche and the humanity of someone who, to be fair to him, probably just doing his best to get through life. But I started watching some videos of him, obviously, but then I realized that I didn't want to do an impersonation. I don't think I even necessarily look like him. So it was just about what James Graham wrote and the broader story that they wanted to tell. And that's kind of how I tapped into it. It's my own creation in a way.
I'm playing Jerry Falwell, somebody that I grew up knowing who he was. I grew up in West Virginia. I was raised Catholic, but PTL was on television because there weren't all that many options. And I grew up knowing who Jim and Tammy were, and who Jimmy Swaggart and all of these characters were. And Jerry Falwell was not someone I ever cared much for. I found that I disagreed with almost everything I ever heard him say. And as time went on, I blamed him more and more for the things that I have found most problematic in our country. So I really took some time to decide whether I was up for stepping into this character. And it was conversations with Rupert that made me feel confident that the show itself, the messages of the show itself, were things that I entirely could get behind. And also my own conviction that I always like to tell people, you should take the opportunity that is the most scary or most troubling. And I figured, well, if I'm going to tell high school and college kids that, I should, live up to it. So but it has been and continues to be, and I think will be until closing night, a challenge, because I so profoundly disagree with a lot of what he stood for. The interesting thing, though, is that not dissimilarly to John Wilkes Booth, if you take things that they say at face value and kind of forget what all the ramifications were and the justifications and all of the rest of it, you can get behind some of these sentiments. It's just that you felt like, well, if you were living that way, that would be one thing, but you're telling me one thing and then you're doing something else. So, and I think that's one of the things that's most interesting and surprising about this show, is that it looks at questions of faith and belief, and makes you remember religion is one thing, and it's an organized human construct, and faith and belief is something different. And I do it all the time. I kind of conflate those two things. But this show really is questioning that and asking us to sort of look at those things. And so that's so far been my way into Jerry, is just he did say things that you could get behind, and then you look at where his ambition got the better of him.
I play Tammy Faye Baker on Sundays. Come get blessed Sunday nights.
So what's it like for you watching it all come to life? And do you get a chance to run the show too?
I will. I've gotten chances to step in, and it's really interesting sort of learning from the sidelines and being able to absorb the show as a whole. I think it's a very unique experience, and it's such a beautiful company. Katie and I are very, very different, and they have really celebrated that. The creative team is really encouraging of that. So I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm so excited.
It's my Broadway debut, so that's exciting for me. Jessica's story really called to me as well, and kind of her relationship with Tammy. The way that James wrote it in the script is just fabulous, and I couldn't have asked for a better show to be a part of.
I play the Reverend Billy Graham in a huge number that opens the show and sort of introduces the tone of the show. It's flashy, it's exciting, and it's sort of introducing the medium of like doing a theatrical production crossed with like the television, right? So the digital design that is incorporated in Bunny Christie's set design is really exciting. It's a supercharged, electrified moment.
We play the Crouches. They are televangelists, and until I think the last 10 years, they were still going. Yeah.
Yeah, they ran the Trinity Broadcasting Network, and so they patterned a lot of what they did after Jim and Tammy Faye. They are the understudies to their style, as it were.
The Salieri's to their Mozart.